In the 1970s, our grandmothers knew how to make Christmas drinks worth remembering. Their work in the kitchen didn't just fill glasses, it created drinks so bright and sweet they made the whole room feel like Christmas.
Like most people, I'm doing my last-minute shopping.
Drinks that have been lost to time. These 30 forgotten Christmas drinks from the 1970s might sound too easy today, but they carried families through holiday parties, tight budgets, and beyond. Let's rediscover forgotten Christmas drinks from the 1970s that have disappeared. Walk into Grandpa Joe's Detroit kitchen on December 24, 1975, and watch him making Tom and Jerry batter. He'd separate a dozen eggs, beat the whites until stiff, beat the yolks with powdered sugar and rum extract until thick, then fold them together with baking soda and vanilla. The batter went into the refrigerator. When guests arrived, he'd scoop a spoonful of batter into a mug, add hot milk and a shot of brandy, then stir until frothy. The drink cost $2 to make a batch and served 20 people. It tasted like hot, boozy eggnog, sweet, custardy, warming, with the alcohol cutting through the richness. Tom and Jerry disappeared by 1985 when people stopped making drinks with raw eggs, and bartenders stopped keeping Tom and Jerry batter behind the bar. Stand beside Grandma May's Kentucky kitchen on December 23, 1974, and watch her making boiled custard. She'd heat milk in a pot until steaming, then slowly whisk in beaten eggs mixed with sugar and vanilla. The mixture cooked on low heat, stirring constantly until it thickened into a pourable custard. She'd strain it, chill it overnight, then serve it cold in cups. Some families added bourbon. The drink cost $1 to make a gallon and served 12 people. It tasted like liquid vanilla custard, sweet, rich, thick enough to coat your tongue. Into Grandma Dorothy's Connecticut kitchen on December 24, 1976, and smell wassail simmering on the stove. She'd heat apple cider with orange juice, lemon juice, cinnamon sticks, whole cloves, and brown sugar. The house smelled like Christmas. She'd ladle it into mugs and serve it hot. Some families added rum. The drink cost $1.50 to make a gallon and served 10 people. It tasted like hot apple cider with citrus and spices, warming, sweet, slightly tangy. Wassail didn't disappear entirely, but most people stopped making it at home by 1985 when buying it at coffee shops became easier. The tradition of simmering it on the stove all day died when crockpots got shoved into closets and nobody had time to make drinks from scratch anymore. Stand in Grandma Betty's Michigan kitchen on December 25, 1975, and watch her making red punch. She'd pour a can of frozen Hawaiian punch concentrate into a punch bowl, add water according to directions, then pour in a 2-liter bottle of ginger ale right before serving. She'd add a frozen ice ring to keep it cold without diluting it. The drink cost 75 cents to make and served 15 people. It tasted sweet and fruity, fizzy from the ginger ale, bright red like Christmas. Red punch disappeared by 1984 when people decided serving drinks made from concentrate was cheap and started making fancy punches with fresh fruit instead. The tradition died when shortcuts became embarrassing instead of practical, and nobody remembered that kids actually liked red punch better than anything fancy. Walk into Grandma Ruth's Vermont kitchen on December 24, 1973, and watch her making lime sherbet punch. She'd pour a 2-liter bottle of 7-Up into a punch bowl, add a can of frozen limeade concentrate, then scoop an entire half-gallon of lime sherbet into the punch. The sherbet floated on top and slowly melted, creating a frothy, creamy punch. The drink cost $1.50 to make and served 12 people. It tasted sweet, fizzy, and creamy all at once, with lime flavor from the sherbet and limeade. The tradition died when retro became a bad thing, and nobody wanted to serve anything their grandparents served. 5 drinks down, 45 more to go. Notice something? Every single one used ingredients you mock. Hawaiian Punch, 7-Up, lime sherbet, instant cocoa. Your grandmother made Christmas drinks for 50 cents. You spend $8 on a peppermint mocha. That's the difference. Keep going. Stand beside Grandma Pearl's Florida kitchen on December 25th, 1978, and watch her making hot chocolate from scratch. She'd heat whole milk in a pot, whisk in cocoa powder, sugar, a pinch of salt, and vanilla extract until smooth. She'd simmer it until hot, but not boiling. She'd serve it in mugs with marshmallows on top. The drink cost 50 cents to make a gallon and served 8 people. It tasted rich and deeply chocolate, not too sweet, with a silky texture from the whole milk. Homemade hot chocolate from scratch disappeared by 1985 when Swiss Miss packets became so convenient that nobody saw the point of making it from scratch. The tradition died when instant became the only version people knew, and homemade hot chocolate was forgotten. Walk into Grandma Edna's Pennsylvania kitchen on December 24th, 1975, and watch her making pink party punch. She'd mix cranberry juice cocktail, canned pineapple juice, and ginger ale in a punch bowl. She'd add a frozen ice ring made from cranberry juice with frozen cranberries suspended in it. The drink cost $1 to make and served 12 people. It tasted tart from the cranberry, sweet from the pineapple, fizzy from the ginger ale. Pink Party Punch disappeared by 1984 when people decided mixing canned juices was too easy and started making complicated punches with fresh ingredients. The tradition died when simple became synonymous with cheap, and nobody wanted to serve anything that took less than an hour to make. Stand in Grandpa Bill's Ohio kitchen on December 25th, 1974, and watch him making chocolate milk for the kids. He'd squeeze Hershey's chocolate syrup into tall glasses, add cold whole milk, and stir until the syrup dissolved. The drink cost 25 cents to make and served 6 kids. It tasted like pure chocolate milk, sweet, rich, exactly what kids wanted on Christmas morning. Chocolate milk made with Hershey's syrup didn't disappear entirely, but serving it on Christmas did. By 1985, people decided chocolate milk was too everyday and started serving fancy hot cocoa or flavored milks instead. The tradition died when Christmas became about impressing guests instead of making kids happy. Walk into Grandma Betty's Michigan kitchen on December 24th, 1976, and watch her making Orange Julius copycat drinks. She'd blend frozen orange juice, concentrate, milk, water, sugar, vanilla extract, and a tray of ice cubes until frothy and smooth. The drink cost 75 cents to make and served 6 people. It tasted like Orange Julius from the mall, creamy, sweet, citrusy, cold. Orange Julius copycat drinks disappeared by 1985 when Orange Julius stores closed and younger generations forgot they ever existed. The tradition of making them at home died when blenders got shoved into cabinet backs and smoothies replaced homemade blended drinks. Stand beside Grandma May's Kentucky kitchen on December 25th, 1977, and watch her making grape Kool-Aid. She'd mix 2 packets of grape Kool-Aid with 2 cups of sugar and a gallon of cold water in a punch bowl. She'd add a frozen ice ring to keep it cold. The drink cost 50 cents to make and served 12 people. It tasted sweet and grapey, bright purple like a crayon. Grape Kool-Aid in a punch bowl disappeared by 1984. When people decided serving Kool-Aid at Christmas was too cheap and started making punches with real juice instead. The tradition died when working-class families started trying to hide where their food came from, and Kool-Aid became shameful instead of practical. 10 drinks gone, 40 left, every single one used shortcuts. Kool-Aid, Hershey's syrup, frozen concentrate. Your grandmother wasn't ashamed of convenience. She was smart. She made drinks that kids loved for 50 cents. You spend $10 on bottled drinks. That's the difference. Keep going. Walk into Grandma Sophia's Rhode Island kitchen on December 24th, 1975, and watch her making coffee milk. She'd pour cold whole milk into glasses, then stir in autocrat coffee syrup, a thick, dark syrup made from coffee and sugar. The drink cost 50 cents to make and served 6 people. It tasted like iced coffee, but sweeter and creamier, with a strong coffee flavor that kids somehow loved. Coffee milk didn't disappear in Rhode Island. It's still the official state drink. But the rest of America stopped making it by 1985, when coffee syrup stopped being sold outside New England. The tradition died when regional foods became too regional, and nobody remembered that coffee milk was once served at Christmas breakfast tables across immigrant neighborhoods. Stand in Grandma Dorothy's Ohio kitchen on December 23, 1973, and watch her mixing spiced tea mix. She'd combine instant tea powder, Tang orange drink mix, sugar, cinnamon, and ground cloves in a jar. When guests arrived, she'd scoop a few spoonfuls into mugs and add hot water. The drink cost $1 to make a jar that lasted all season. It tasted like orange spiced tea, citrusy, sweet, warming. Spiced tea mix disappeared by 1985 when people decided Tang was fake and instant tea was low quality. The tradition died when homemade mixes became embarrassing and everyone started buying expensive tea bags instead of making drinks from powder. Walk into Grandma Betty's Michigan kitchen on December 25, 1978, and watch her making pink champagne punch. She'd mix pink lemonade, ginger ale, and white grape juice in a punch bowl. She'd add frozen strawberries for color and flavor. The drink cost $1.50 to make and served 12 people. It tasted fizzy and sweet, fruity from the strawberries, pink and festive. Pink champagne punch disappeared by 1984 when people decided non-alcoholic punches were for kids and adults started drinking real champagne instead. The tradition died when sober guests stopped being accommodated and punch bowls disappeared from Christmas tables. Stand beside Grandpa Frank's Pennsylvania kitchen on December 24, 1974, and smell hot mulled wine simmering. He'd pour a bottle of cheap red wine into a pot, add orange slices, cinnamon sticks, whole cloves, sugar, and brandy. It simmered on low heat for an hour, filling the house with spice. The drink cost $2 to make and served 8 people. It tasted warm and spiced, boozy and sweet, with the wine mellow from heating. Hot mulled wine didn't disappear entirely, but most people stopped making it at home by 1985 when wine culture shifted and people thought heating wine was wasteful. Walk into Grandma Ruth's Vermont kitchen on December 25, 1976, and watch her making orange sherbet punch. She'd pour Sprite into a punch bowl, add a can of frozen orange juice concentrate, then scoop an entire half-gallon of orange sherbet into the punch. The sherbet floated and slowly melted into creamy foam. The drink cost $1.50 to make and served 12 people. It tasted like a creamsicle in liquid form, sweet, fizzy, creamy, with orange flavor throughout. Orange sherbet punch disappeared by 1985 when people decided sherbet punches were too old-fashioned and started making mimosas instead. Stand in Grandma Pearl's Georgia kitchen on December 24, 1975, and watch her making peppermint hot chocolate. She'd make hot chocolate from scratch, milk, cocoa powder, sugar, vanilla, then stir in crushed candy canes until they melted into the hot liquid. She'd serve it with a candy cane stirrer. The drink cost 75 cents to make and served 8 people. It tasted like chocolate and peppermint together, sweet, minty, warming. Peppermint hot chocolate didn't disappear entirely, but making it from scratch did. By 1985, people started buying peppermint hot chocolate mix in packets instead of crushing candy canes into homemade cocoa. The tradition of making it from scratch died when instant became the default. Walk into Grandma Edna's Pennsylvania kitchen on December 25th, 1977, and watch her making cranberry apple cider. She'd heat apple cider with cranberry juice, cinnamon sticks, and orange slices until steaming. She'd serve it hot in mugs. The drink cost $1.50 to make and served 10 people. It tasted tart and sweet, spiced and warming, with cranberry cutting through the apple sweetness. Cranberry apple cider didn't disappear entirely, but most people stopped making it at home by 1984, when Starbucks started selling similar drinks for $6 a cup. The tradition died when homemade became too much work compared to driving through Starbucks, even though homemade tasted better and cost less. Stand beside Grandma Betty's Michigan kitchen on December 24th, 1973, and watch her making cherry limeade. She'd mix frozen limeade concentrate with water and sugar, then add maraschino cherry juice for color and flavor. She'd serve it over ice with maraschino cherries. The drink cost 50 cents to make and served 8 people. It tasted sweet and tart, bright red and green for Christmas. Cherry limeade didn't disappear. Sonic still sells it, but making it at home did. By 1985, people stopped making copycat drinks and started buying them at fast food restaurants, instead paying $3 for what used to cost 50 cents at home. Walk into Grandpa Bill's Ohio kitchen on December 25th, 1978, and watch him spiking apple cider. He'd heat apple cider until steaming, then add cinnamon schnapps and a cinnamon stick stirrer. The drink cost $3 to make and served 8 people. It tasted like hot apple pie, sweet, spiced, boozy, warming. Spiked apple cider with cinnamon schnapps didn't disappear entirely, but serving it at Christmas did. By 1985, people started drinking craft cocktails instead of simple spiked ciders, and cinnamon schnapps became something only unsophisticated drinkers enjoyed. The tradition died when simple drinks became unfashionable. Stand in Grandma May's Kentucky kitchen on December 24th, 1974, and watch her making grape juice punch. She'd mix Welch's grape juice with ginger ale in a punch bowl, add a frozen ice ring made from grape juice. The drink cost 75 cents to make and served 12 people. It tasted sweet and fizzy, deep purple like royalty. Grape juice and ginger ale punch disappeared by 1984 when people decided grape juice was too sweet and for kids. The tradition died when adults stopped drinking anything that resembled children's beverages, even though grape juice punch tasted better than most adult drink. 20 drinks down, 30 left. Every single one cost less than $2 and served crowd. Your grandmother made drinks that tasted good and didn't require bartending skills. You pay $15 for one cocktail. That's the difference between practical and pretentious. Keep going. Stand beside Grandpa Frank's Kentucky kitchen on December 25th, 1975, and watch him pouring buttermilk. He'd serve cold buttermilk in glasses with Christmas dinner, not as a drink most people enjoyed, but as something working-class Southern families drank with every meal. The drink cost 50 cents for a half-gallon and served 8 people. It tasted tangy and thick, slightly sour like yogurt. Buttermilk as a drinking beverage disappeared by 1983 when people stopped drinking it straight and only used it for baking. The tradition died when younger generations said it was gross and sour milk, and nobody remembered that buttermilk. Walk into Grandma Betty's Michigan kitchen on December 24th, 1976, and watch her making pineapple punch. She'd mix canned pineapple juice with lemon-lime soda in a punch bowl, add a can of crushed pineapple for texture. The drink cost $1 to make and served 12 people. It tasted tropical and sweet, fizzy and fruity. Pineapple punch disappeared by 1985 when people decided canned pineapple juice was cheap and started making punches with fresh-pressed juices instead. The tradition died when convenience became embarrassing instead of practical. Walk into Grandpa Bill's Ohio kitchen on December 25th, 1977, and watch him making hot buttered rum. He'd heat water in a kettle, pour it into mugs, Add dark rum, a pat of butter, brown sugar, cinnamon, and nutmeg. The butter melted and floated on top. The drink cost $2 to make and served 6 people. It tasted rich, buttery, boozy, and warming, with spices cutting through the sweetness. Hot buttered rum didn't disappear entirely, but most people stopped making it at home by 1985 when butter in drinks became weird. The tradition died when simple became unsophisticated, and nobody wanted to serve drinks their grandparents made. Stand in Grandma May's Kentucky kitchen on December 24, 1973, and watch her making strawberry Kool-Aid. She'd mix 2 packets of strawberry Kool-Aid with 2 cups of sugar and a gallon of cold water in a punch bowl. The drink cost 50 cents to make and served 12 people. It tasted sweet and artificial strawberry, bright red for Christmas. Strawberry Kool-Aid in a punch bowl disappeared by 1984 when people decided Kool-Aid was too cheap for Christmas. The tradition died when working-class families started trying to serve fancy drinks and abandoned the beverages their kids actually enjoyed. Walk into Grandpa Joe's Detroit kitchen on December 25, 1978, and watch him making vanilla milkshakes. He'd blend vanilla ice cream with whole milk until thick and creamy, then serve it in tall glasses with straws. The drink cost $1 to make and served 6 people. It tasted like pure vanilla ice cream in drinkable form. Sweet, cold, creamy. Vanilla milkshakes on Christmas didn't disappear entirely, but serving them at home did. By 1985, people stopped making milkshakes at home and started buying them at restaurants instead, paying $5 for what used to cost $1 to make. The tradition died when blenders got shoved into closets and nobody made drinks from scratch anymore. 25 drinks gone, halfway there. These used buttermilk, Kool-Aid, canned juice, ice cream. Your grandmother made drinks that kids and adults enjoyed for under $2. You spend $8 on coffee. That's what happens when practical becomes shameful. Let's finish this. Stand beside Grandma Sylvia's New York kitchen on December 24, 1975, and watch her making chocolate egg cream. She'd pour chocolate syrup into tall glasses, add a splash of whole milk, then fill the glass with seltzer water while stirring vigorously. The drink foamed up like a milkshake. The drink cost 25 cents to make and served 4 people. It tasted like chocolate soda with a creamy head, sweet, fizzy, refreshing. Chocolate egg cream disappeared outside New York by 1984 when seltzer water stopped being common in home kitchens and people forgot the drink existed. The tradition died when regional drinks became too regional and nobody outside Brooklyn remembered egg creams. Walk into Grandma Dorothy's Ohio kitchen on December 25, 1976, and watch her making cinnamon tea. She'd boil water, add a handful of Red Hot's candies, and stir until they dissolved completely. The water turned bright red and cinnamon flavor. She'd serve it hot in mugs. The drink cost 50 cents to make and served 10 people. It tasted like liquid Red Hots, sweet, spicy, cinnamon intense. Cinnamon tea made with Red Hots disappeared by 1985. Stand in Grandma Betty's Michigan kitchen on December 24, 1974, and watch her making sparkling lemonade. She'd mix frozen lemonade concentrate with 7-Up instead of water. The drink cost 75 cents to make and served 8 people. It tasted like lemonade, but fizzy, sweet, tart, refreshing. Lemonade with 7-Up disappeared by 1984 when people decided using soda. Walk into Grandma Ruth's Vermont kitchen on December 25, 1977, and watch her making Russian tea. She'd brew strong black tea, add sugar, lemon juice, cinnamon, and cloves. She'd serve it hot with lemon slices. The drink cost 50 cents to make and served 8 people. It tasted like spiced tea with citrus, warming, sweet, tangy. Russian tea disappeared by 1985 when people stopped making tea from scratch and started using tea bags. The tradition died when homemade spiced tea became too much work, compared to buying flavored tea bags, even though homemade tasted better. Frozen hot chocolate. Stand beside Grandma Pearl's Florida kitchen on December 24th, 1978, and watch her making frozen hot chocolate. She'd blend hot chocolate mix with milk, ice cubes, and sugar until smooth and slushy. She'd serve it with whipped cream on top. The drink cost 75 cents to make and served 6 people. It tasted like a chocolate milkshake, cold, sweet, creamy. Frozen hot chocolate disappeared by 1984 when Serendipity Restaurant trademarked it and people forgot you could make it at home. The tradition died when restaurant versions became famous and homemade versions were forgotten. 30 drinks gone, 20 left. These used Red Hots, 7-Up, frozen concentrate, instant tea. Your grandmother made drinks from whatever was in the pantry. You drive to Starbucks 3 times a day. That's the difference between resourceful and dependent. Let's finish. Walk into Grandpa Bill's Ohio kitchen on December 25th, 1975, and watch him making peppermint patties for adults. He'd make hot chocolate from scratch, heating whole milk with cocoa powder, sugar, and vanilla, then add a shot of peppermint schnapps to each mug. He'd top it with whipped cream and crushed candy canes. The drink cost $2 to make and served 8 people. It tasted like liquid peppermint patty candy, chocolate and mint together, warming and boozy. The peppermint schnapps added a cool mintiness that balanced the rich chocolate. Peppermint patty drinks didn't disappear entirely, but serving them at home did. By 1985, people stopped making spiked hot chocolate at home and started ordering peppermint mochas at coffee shops instead, paying $7 for what used to cost 25 cents at home. The tradition died when coffee shops convinced people that homemade drinks weren't as good as store-bought, even though Grandpa Bill's peppermint patties were richer, boozier, and infinitely better than anything Starbucks sold. Nobody makes spiked hot chocolate from scratch anymore. They buy overpriced coffee drinks and pretend it's the same thing. Stand beside Grandma Betty's Michigan kitchen on December 24th, 1976, and watch her pouring cranberry juice cocktail. She'd pour Ocean Spray cranberry juice cocktail over ice in tall glasses and serve it with Christmas dinner. That's it. No mixers, no additions, just straight cranberry juice cocktail, cold. The drink cost $1 for a bottle and served 8 people. It tasted tart and sweet, bright red and festive. Cranberry juice cocktail was the fancy juice for holidays, more expensive than grape juice or orange juice, reserved for special occasions. Straight cranberry juice cocktail as a Christmas drink disappeared by 1984 when people decided plain juice wasn't special enough for holidays. They started making cranberry juice into cocktails with vodka or mixing it with sparkling water, and serving straight cranberry juice became too plain. The tradition died when simple stopped being acceptable, and every drink had to be elevated or craft. Grandma Betty stopped serving straight cranberry juice in 1983 when her daughter said it was boring and insisted on making cranberry sparklers with champagne instead, even though the kids preferred plain cranberry juice and the adults ended up drinking wine anyway. Walk into Grandma May's Kentucky kitchen on December 25th, 1977, and watch her making chocolate milk with Ovaltine. She'd stir Ovaltine powder into cold whole milk until it dissolved. The drink had to be stirred constantly because Ovaltine clumped if you didn't mix it properly. She'd serve it in tall glasses. The drink cost 50 cents to make and served 6 people. It tasted like malted chocolate milk, sweet, slightly grainy, with a distinct malt flavor that was different from regular chocolate milk. Ovaltine was marketed as nutritious, so mothers felt good about serving it. Chocolate milk made with Ovaltine disappeared by 1985 when Ovaltine stopped being sold in most grocery stores and chocolate milk syrup became the default. The tradition died when Ovaltine became old-fashioned and kids started demanding Nesquik instead. Grandma May stopped making Ovaltine in 1982 when she couldn't find it at her local grocery store anymore. They'd replaced it with Nesquik and store-brand chocolate milk powder. The distinctive malt flavor of Ovaltine was lost, and an entire generation grew up never tasting the difference between Ovaltine and regular chocolate milk. Today, most people don't even know Ovaltine still exists. Stand in Grandpa Joe's Detroit kitchen on December 24th, 1973, and watch him making banana milkshakes. He'd peel ripe bananas, break them into chunks, then blend them with vanilla ice cream and a splash of milk until smooth and creamy. The milkshakes were thick, pale yellow, and naturally sweet from the bananas. The drink cost 75 cents to make and served 4 people. It tasted like banana cream pie in liquid form, sweet, creamy, with real banana flavor throughout. The natural banana flavor was stronger and more complex than artificial banana flavoring. Banana milkshakes made at home disappeared by 1984 when people stopped making milkshakes from scratch and started buying them at fast food restaurants instead. The tradition died when blenders got shoved into cabinet backs and smoothie shops replaced homemade blended drinks. Grandpa Joe stopped making banana milkshakes in 1981 when his family said they'd rather go to McDonald's, even though his homemade milkshakes were thicker, creamier, and made with real fruit instead of artificial flavoring. The skill of making milkshakes at home died, and today most people don't own a working blender and wouldn't know how to make a banana milkshake if asked. Walk into Grandma Betty's Michigan kitchen on December 25th, 1978, and watch her making pink lemonade from Country Time pink lemonade powder. She'd dump the entire canister of powder into a pitcher, add cold water, stir until dissolved, then add ice. The lemonade was bright pink, artificially colored but festive. The drink cost 50 cents to make a pitcher and served 10 people. It tasted sweet and tart, with artificial lemon flavor that kids somehow preferred to real lemonade. The pink color made it special. Regular lemonade was every day, but pink lemonade was for parties and holidays. Pink lemonade from powder disappeared by 1985 when people decided powdered drink mixes were unhealthy and full of chemicals. They started making lemonade from fresh lemons instead, which took 10 times longer and tasted too tart for kids who'd grown up on Country Time. The tradition died when convenience became shameful, and serving anything made from powder became embarrassing. Grandma Betty stopped making pink lemonade in 1983 when her daughter insisted on making real lemonade from scratch, which the kids refused to drink because it wasn't sweet enough. The powder sat in the pantry, unopened, until it expired. 35 drinks erased, 15 left. These used Ovaltine, Country Time, bananas, cranberry juice. Your grandmother made drinks that kids loved and adults tolerated. You spend $10 on smoothies. That's what happens when homemade becomes too much work. Here are the last 15. Stand beside Grandma Ruth's Vermont garden on December 24th, 1975, and watch her picking fresh mint from her herb garden. Yes, even in December, mint survived light frosts. She'd bring the mint inside, rinse it, bruise the leaves to release the oils, then pour boiling water over them to make mint tea. She'd add honey and serve it hot. The drink cost almost nothing because the mint was homegrown, and it served 8 people. It tasted like pure mint, fresh, cooling even when hot, with a natural sweetness from the honey. Mint tea made from fresh garden mint had a clean, bright flavor that dried mint or mint tea bags couldn't match. Mint tea made from fresh mint disappeared by 1984 when people stopped growing herbs and started buying tea bags instead. The tradition died when herb gardens became too much work and grocery store herbs replaced homegrown. Grandma Ruth stopped making fresh mint tea in 1982 when her family said they preferred Bigelow mint tea bags, which tasted nothing like fresh mint, but came in a convenient box. The skill of growing mint, harvesting it in winter, and making tea from fresh leaves died with gardeners who remembered when herbs were medicine, not decoration. Warmed in a pot walk into Grandma Pearl's Florida kitchen on December 25, 1976, and watch her warming apple juice. She'd pour store-bought apple juice into a pot and heat it until steaming but not boiling. She'd serve it in mugs like tea. That's it. No spices, no additions, just hot apple juice. Stand beside Grandma Betty's Michigan kitchen on December 24, 1974, and watch her mixing pineapple-orange juice. She'd pour canned pineapple juice and orange juice half and half into a pitcher, stir, and serve it cold over ice. The combination was tropical and special for Christmas. The drink cost $1 to make a pitcher and served 10 people. It tasted sweet and tangy, with pineapple and orange flavors balanced. The mixture was more interesting than either juice alone. The pineapple added sweetness, the orange added tartness. Pineapple-orange juice mixed at home disappeared by 1985, when Tropicana started selling pre-mixed pineapple-orange juice in cartons and people stopped mixing their own. The tradition died when buying pre-mixed became easier than pouring 2 juices into a pitcher, even though it cost more and tasted the same. Grandma Betty stopped mixing her own in 1983 when her grocery store started stocking pre-mixed juice, and she didn't see the point of buying 2 separate juices when one bottle did the same thing. The skill of mixing juices died, and today most people don't realize they could save money by mixing their own. Walk into Grandma Dorothy's Connecticut kitchen on December 25, 1977, and watch her heating apple cider. She'd pour apple cider into a pot, add cinnamon sticks, and heat it until steaming. She'd serve it hot in mugs with the cinnamon sticks left in as stirrers. No other spices, no sugar, just cider and cinnamon. The drink cost $1.50 for a gallon and served 10 people. It tasted like warm apples with cinnamon, simple, sweet, comforting. The cinnamon sticks infused the cider with subtle spice without overwhelming the apple flavor. Hot apple cider with just cinnamon sticks disappeared by 1985 when people started adding cloves, allspice, orange peels, and brown sugar, turning simple cider into complicated wassail. The tradition died when elevated became better than simple, and plain hot cider with cinnamon became too plain. Grandma Dorothy stopped making simple hot cider in 1983 when her daughter insisted on adding more spices, which made it taste like potpourri instead of apples. The beauty of plain hot cider with cinnamon, pure apple flavor with a hint of spice, was lost when complexity replaced simplicity. Stand in Grandma May's Kentucky kitchen on December 24, 1978, and watch her making chocolate milk with Nesquik. She'd scoop Nesquik chocolate powder into tall glasses, add cold whole milk, and stir vigorously until the powder dissolved. The drink had to be stirred well, or clumps of powder stuck to the bottom. The drink cost 50 cents to make and served 6 people. It tasted like sweet chocolate milk, not as rich as Hershey's syrup, not as malted as Ovaltine, but perfectly sweet and chocolatey. Nesquik was the Goldilocks of chocolate milk, just right for kids. Chocolate milk made with Nesquik powder didn't disappear entirely, but serving it at Christmas did. By 1985, people decided chocolate milk was too everyday for holidays and started serving hot cocoa instead. The tradition died when Christmas became about impressing guests instead of making kids happy. Grandma May stopped serving Nesquik at Christmas in 1983 when her daughter said chocolate milk wasn't festive enough and insisted on making fancy hot cocoa with marshmallows, which took longer and the kids liked less than cold Nesquik chocolate milk. 40 drinks gone, 10 left. These used fresh mint, plain apple juice, Nesquik, canned juice. Your grandmother made drinks that were simple and good. You complicate everything and pay triple. That's what happens when simple becomes insufficient. Here are the last 10. Walk into Grandma Betty's Michigan kitchen on December 25th, 1975, and watch her making cherry punch. She'd drain the juice from 2 jars of maraschino cherries into a punch bowl, add lemon-lime soda, pineapple juice, and the drained cherries. The punch turned bright pink from the cherry juice. The drink cost $1 to make and served 12 people. It tasted sweet and slightly artificial, with maraschino cherry flavor dominating. The floating cherries were a bonus. Kids fished them out with spoons. Cherry punch made with maraschino cherry juice disappeared by 1985, when people decided using cherry juice was too artificial and started making punches with fresh fruit instead. The tradition died when convenience became shameful and nobody wanted to admit they'd used maraschino cherry juice. Grandma Betty stopped making cherry punch in 1983 when her daughter said it was too fake and insisted on making punch with fresh cherries, which cost 5 times as much, took an hour to pit, and tasted less sweet than the kids expected. The maraschino cherry juice version, bright pink, perfectly sweet, loved by everyone, was abandoned in favor of natural punches that nobody actually preferred. Stand beside Grandpa Bill's Tennessee kitchen on December 24th, 1976, and watch him making iced tea. He'd brew strong black tea by boiling water and steeping tea bags, add sugar while the tea was hot, then pour it into a pitcher with ice until cold. He'd serve it with lemon wedges. Southerners drank iced tea year-round, even on Christmas. The drink cost 25 cents to make a gallon and served 12 people. It tasted like sweet tea, very sweet, very strong, with lemon adding tartness. Southern iced tea was more sugar than tea, but that was the point. Iced tea on Christmas didn't disappear in the South, but the rest of America stopped serving it by 1985, when iced tea became a summer drink and people started drinking hot beverages on Christmas instead. The tradition died when regional customs became too regional, and Southerners started feeling pressure to serve hot drinks on Christmas like everyone else. Grandpa Bill never stopped serving iced tea on Christmas. He drank it every day of his life, including December 25th, but his grandchildren who moved north stopped making it because their neighbors thought drinking iced tea in winter was weird. Walk into Grandma Betty's Michigan kitchen on December 25th, 1977, and watch her making Shirley Temples for the kids. She'd pour ginger ale into glasses, add a splash of grenadine syrup for color and sweetness, then garnish with maraschino cherries. The drink turned pink and looked fancy. The drink cost 75 cents to make and served 8 kids. It tasted sweet and fizzy, with grenadine adding a fruity, slightly artificial flavor. Shirley Temples made kids feel special because they looked like adult cocktails but had no alcohol. Shirley Temples on Christmas didn't disappear entirely, but making them at home did. By 1985, people stopped keeping grenadine in their pantries and started ordering Shirley Temples at restaurants instead of making them at home. The tradition died when home bars disappeared and specialty ingredients became too much to keep on hand. Grandma Betty stopped making Shirley Temples in 1983 when her bottle of grenadine expired, and she didn't bother replacing it because kids can just drink soda. The ritual of making fancy non-alcoholic drinks for kids died when convenience replaced effort. Walk into Grandpa Joe's Detroit kitchen on December 24th, 1973, and watch him making root beer floats. He'd scoop vanilla ice cream into tall glasses, then slowly pour root beer over the ice cream. The root beer foamed up and mixed with the melting ice cream, creating a creamy, fizzy drink. The drink cost $1 to make and served 6 people. It tasted like root beer and vanilla ice cream together, sweet, creamy, fizzy, with the ice cream melting into the soda. Root beer floats were special occasion drinks, and Christmas qualified. Root beer floats on Christmas didn't disappear entirely, but making them at home did. Walk into Grandma Ruth's Vermont kitchen on December 25th, 1978, and watch her making hot lemon water. She'd squeeze fresh lemon juice into mugs, add hot water and honey, then stir until the honey dissolved. She served it to anyone with a sore throat or cold on Christmas. The drink cost 25 cents to make and served 6 people. It tasted tart and sweet, soothing on sore throats. Hot lemon water with honey was medicine disguised as a drink. Hot lemon water with honey didn't disappear entirely, but serving it on Christmas did. 45 drinks erased, 5 left. These used grenadine, root beer, tea bags, lemon juice. Your grandmother made drinks that brought joy and comfort. You complicate everything. That's what happens when tradition dies and convenience wins. Here are the last 5. Walk into Grandma Agnes's New Orleans kitchen on December 25th, 1974, and watch her making coffee with chicory. She'd brew coffee using community coffee with chicory, a darker, stronger coffee with roasted chicory root added. She'd serve it hot with milk and sugar, or over ice with sweetened condensed milk for café au lait. The drink cost 50 cents for a pot and served 10 people. It tasted stronger and slightly bitter than regular coffee, with the chicory adding an earthy, woody flavor. Coffee with chicory was a New Orleans tradition that stretched expensive coffee with cheaper chicory root. Coffee with chicory didn't disappear in New Orleans, but the rest of America stopped drinking it by 1985 when Starbucks convinced people that good coffee meant single-origin beans without additives. The tradition died when chicory became old-fashioned and coffee culture shifted to expensive, pure beans. Grandma Agnes never stopped drinking community coffee with chicory. She drank it every Christmas morning until she died. But her grandchildren, who moved away, switched to Starbucks and forgot what real New Orleans coffee tasted like. Walk into Grandpa Bill's New Orleans, Louisiana kitchen on December 24th, 1975, and watch him making milk punch for Christmas Eve morning. He'd pull whole milk and heavy cream from the refrigerator, set them on the counter beside a bottle of bourbon, usually Old Forester or Early Times, nothing fancy. He'd measure milk, cream, bourbon, vanilla extract, and powdered sugar into the blender, added a full tray of ice cubes, capped the blender, hit the button. The machine roared to life, churning everything into thick, frothy, pale ivory liquid. When it stopped, he'd pour it into short glasses, juice glasses, not cocktail glasses, and grate fresh nutmeg over the top with a tiny grater. The nutmeg floated on the foam like snow. The drink was cold, creamy, boozy, and served at 9 a.m. on Christmas Eve. That was New Orleans. That was tradition. The drink cost about $2 to make a full blender pitcher and served 8 people. It tasted like boozy eggnog, but thinner and less rich. More drinkable, less heavy. The vanilla and nutmeg added warmth, even though the drink was ice cold. The bourbon added bite. Milk punch was a New Orleans Christmas tradition going back generations. Sweet, creamy, alcoholic, and served cold even in December when the rest of America drank hot cocoa. In Louisiana, Christmas morning meant milk punch. It was civilized. It was festive. It was what adults drank while the kids opened presents. Milk punch mattered because it connected you to place. Grandpa Bill's father made it. His grandfather made it. It came from French Creole tradition. Brandy milk punch served at fancy New Orleans brunches in the 1800s. By the 1970s, bourbon replaced brandy, but the ritual stayed the same. You made milk punch on Christmas Eve and Christmas morning. You served it to family. You toasted the holiday. That was how you celebrated in Louisiana. Milk punch didn't disappear in New Orleans. Bars and restaurants still serve it today, but the rest of America stopped making it by 1985 when people decided blending milk with bourbon was weird and gross. The tradition died when regional drinks became too regional and everyone started drinking the same drinks regardless of where they lived. Starbucks homogenized America. Peppermint mochas replaced milk punch. Nobody wanted to taste New Orleans anymore. They wanted to taste what everyone else in the country was tasting. Grandpa Bill never stopped making milk punch on Christmas. It was a tradition his father taught him, and he'd be damned if he let it die. But his children, who moved to Atlanta, Houston, Dallas, stopped making it the moment they left Louisiana. Walk into Grandma Betty's Lansing, Michigan kitchen on December 25, 1976, and watch her making instant coffee for Christmas morning. She'd fill the kettle with tap water, set it on the stove, wait for it to whistle. While it heated, she'd line up her coffee mugs on the counter, mismatched ceramic mugs collected from church fundraisers and gas station promotions. She'd spoon 1 heaping teaspoon of Folgers instant coffee crystals into each mug. When the kettle screamed, she'd pour boiling water over the crystals, stir until they dissolved into dark brown liquid, then add 2 spoonfuls of powdered coffee mate creamer and 1 spoonful of sugar. Stir again. The coffee turned caramel-colored and smelled like burnt nuts and fake vanilla. The drink was ready in 30 seconds. No brewing, no filters, no coffee grounds to throw away. Just crystals, water, powder, sugar. Done. The drink cost 25 cents per cup, way cheaper than ground coffee, which required filters and a percolator and wasted half the pot if you only wanted 1 cup. It tasted like weak coffee with a slightly artificial creamer flavor, not rich, not bold, not gourmet, but it was hot, caffeinated, and ready instantly. Instant coffee with powdered creamer was practical. You made exactly as much as you needed, no waste, no fuss, no waiting 20 minutes for a percolator to finish. That mattered on Christmas morning when 15 people needed coffee at different times and nobody wanted to babysit a coffee pot all day. Instant coffee with powdered creamer mattered because it was democratic. Grandma Betty made a cup for herself at 6 a.m. She made another cup for Grandpa at 7 a.m. She made cups for guests whenever they woke up. Everyone got fresh coffee made to order. It worked. It was efficient. It was kind. Instant coffee with powdered creamer didn't disappear entirely, but serving it on Christmas did. By 1985, Mr. Coffee drip machines took over American kitchens, and people decided instant coffee was cheap and low class. The tradition died when coffee became serious. Suddenly you needed fresh ground beans, paper filters, and 12-cup machines that brewed entire pots nobody finished. Instant coffee became something only old people or poor people drank. Grandma Betty stopped serving instant coffee on Christmas morning in 1983 when her daughter, your mother, bought her a Mr. Coffee machine for her birthday and said, "Mom, nobody drinks instant anymore. This makes real coffee." Grandma Betty smiled, said thank you, plugged it in once, hated it, and never used it again. She kept making instant coffee in secret, 1 mug at a time, exactly the way she liked it, with 2 spoons of coffee mate and 1 spoon of sugar. But on Christmas, when guests came over, she made the Mr. Coffee pot. She served real coffee that half the guests didn't finish. The pot sat on the burner for hours, burning into sludge, and Grandma Betty, who had perfected the 30-second cup of instant coffee that nobody wasted, watched her daughter throw away 6 cups of cold, burnt drip coffee and pretend it tasted better. Walk into Grandma Pearl's Clearwater, Florida kitchen on December 24, 1977, and watch her making Carnation instant breakfast for Christmas Eve breakfast. She'd pull cold, whole milk from the refrigerator, pour it into tall, clear glasses, rip open packets of Carnation instant breakfast powder, chocolate for the boys, vanilla for the girls, and stir each glass with a long spoon until the powder dissolved completely into thick, frothy, vitamin-fortified milk. The drink was marketed as a complete breakfast in a glass, vitamins, protein, minerals, and calories for kids who refuse to eat eggs, toast, or cereal on busy holiday mornings. The box promised as much nutrition as 2 eggs, 2 strips of bacon, 2 slices of toast, and a glass of orange juice. That made mothers feel like heroes. You stirred powder into milk, and your kids got a full breakfast. Carnation instant breakfast mattered because Christmas mornings were chaotic. Grandma Pearl had 10 people sleeping in her house every Christmas. She didn't have time to cook eggs, bacon, pancakes, and toast for 10 people before presents. So she made instant breakfast. Everyone got a glass, everyone got vitamins, everyone stayed full until lunch. It worked. It was practical. It was smart. She served it every Christmas morning from 1972 until 1981. Carnation Instant Breakfast disappeared as a Christmas drink by 1985 when the Martha Stewart era decided breakfast drinks were for rushed weekdays, not holidays. The tradition died when Christmas breakfast became elaborate. Stacks of pancakes, platters of bacon, scrambled eggs, fresh squeezed orange juice, and nobody wanted to serve powdered drinks on special occasions. It became shameful. Grandma Pearl stopped serving the glasses of Carnation instant breakfast. Fast, nutritious, loved by everyone, were replaced by an elaborate breakfast nobody wanted. The powder stayed in the cupboard. The tradition died. Christmas morning became about impressing guests instead of feeding your family. Stand beside Grandma Dorothy's Dayton, Ohio kitchen on December 25, 1978, and watch her making Tang for Christmas morning breakfast. She'd pull the bright orange canister from the cupboard, the one with the astronaut on the label, and dump 4 heaping scoops of Tang orange drink powder into her clear glass pitcher. She'd add cold water from the tap, stir it with a long wooden spoon until every last bit of powder dissolved into electric orange liquid, then pour it over ice in plastic tumblers. Tang was marketed as the drink astronauts drank in space during the Apollo missions, which made every kid who drank it feel like they were part of NASA. It wasn't orange juice. It was space juice. That made Christmas morning feel futuristic. The drink cost 50 cents to make an entire pitcher and served 10 people, way cheaper than buying a carton of Minute Maid. It tasted like artificial orange, sweet, citrusy, bright. Not quite like real orange juice, but kids loved it anyway. Tang was brighter, sweeter, and easier than standing at the counter squeezing oranges for 20 minutes or spending $2 on a carton of Florida orange juice. You twisted the lid, scooped the powder, stirred, and Christmas morning had a drink. Simple, reliable, loved. Tang as a Christmas morning drink mattered because it was the drink of astronauts and dreamers. Grandma Dorothy served it every Christmas from 1969, the year Apollo 11 landed on the moon, until 1982. Drinking Tang on Christmas felt modern, American, optimistic. You were drinking what Buzz Aldrin drank. That was magic. Tang disappeared from Christmas tables by 1985 when the health-conscious 1980s decided powdered drinks were unhealthy, full of artificial ingredients, and not real food. The tradition died when convenience became shameful. Serving Tang suddenly meant you were too lazy or too poor to buy real orange juice. It became an embarrassment. Grandma Dorothy stopped serving Tang in 1983 when her daughter, your mother, said it was full of chemicals and food dye and insisted on buying Tropicana orange juice instead, which cost 3 times as much. The kids said it tasted too sour and too pulpy compared to the Tang they expected. They wanted the bright orange powder. They got lectured about vitamin C instead. The pitcher of Tang, bright orange, perfectly sweet, loved by everyone, was abandoned in favor of natural juice that nobody actually preferred. The astronauts disappeared. The magic died. Christmas morning became about reading nutrition labels instead of pretending you were flying to the moon. 50 Christmas drinks. Your grandmother fed crowds for under $2. She made drinks that kids loved, adults tolerated, and everyone remembered. She used punch bowls with ice rings, stirred drinks with candy cane sticks, served hot chocolate with marshmallows, and nobody complained about artificial ingredients or sugar content. Then everything changed. Powdered drinks became unhealthy. Shortcuts became cheap. Grandmother's lime sherbet punch tasted better than anything at a modern cocktail bar. Her Tom and Jerry, made from scratch, was richer than any store-bought eggnog. Her hot chocolate with Hershey's syrup was more satisfying than a $7 peppermint mocha. She knew how to make people happy without spending money. You know how to spend money without making people happy. That's the difference. Call your grandmother if she's still alive. Ask her about the drinks she made at Christmas. Write down the recipes. Make them once. Serve Tang to your kids. Make Kool-Aid in a punch bowl. Melt lime sherbet into 7-Up. Because once her generation is gone, these drinks are gone forever, and all you'll have left is a $15 Starbucks habit and a cabinet full of unused punch bowls. Your grandmother's punch bowl is gone. But her resourcefulness doesn't have to be.